Okay, Manny. Who are we probing today? Oh, come on, Manny. You said I could probe somebody.
What's up, everyone? This is UFO report number 18, and we are on the cusp of the Independence Day, July 4th celebration in the United States. So I have a feeling that because of that, as I've noted in the past, we have a lot less in the way of UFO reports. And I've noticed this in previous episodes, also on the weekends, where the weekends and holidays, UFOs just don't happen. Why is that? I'm hoping that it's a really busy weekend and we get some real good UFO stuff going on. At least not things that might get hoaxified by the usual suspects. So let's get into our UFO report news for today, because we have two. The first one I saw on Wednesday and I stayed away from it. The reason I stayed away from this was because we just recently had Scott C. Waring put up his pareidolia hat. But apparently there's a bunch of other people willing to step into his shoes to fill the gap of the crazy Mars news. When this report came around, I immediately thought in my head, it's a piece of the rover they're looking at. Of course, the headlines at the time were all about Mars rover spots a UFO on the red planet. And we've been here before many a times. So right now, I have the latest article, which is from Fox News. And it's pretty much saying that the internet is bananas, nuts, going crazy because the Mars Opportunity Rover has a picture of a metallic object. Let's just start this off first. You know, in UFO Bus Radio, we like to give a little historical look at things when it comes to Mars or anything else. If we can find it, if I can find it, I will bring it on here. So some facts about the rover, which really was not supposed to be alive this long. The little robot that could launched July 7th of 2003 from the Blue Planet, and it landed on Mars in the Meridiani Planum on January 25th of 2004. That's over 13 years ago. 2 weeks later, the twin rover Spirit landed on the other side of the planet. What the buzz is that on March 17th, the rover apparently took a picture of this object, this little shiny object. It might not be that little. However, it took a picture of this thing, and of course, just recently, people are going nuts because they're saying it's proof of alien life. So I don't know where exactly this news report started. Where was it that people were saying that everyone's going like bananas, frantic over this? But apparently, some of the quotes in this article come from Reddit. In a Reddit blog thingy called Rapture. When I first saw this, I said, this is probably a piece of the rover that fell off. I mean, the thing is well beyond its mission time frame. It might just have the Energizer Bunny driving it right now. And even that bunny is on his last lucky leg. But when I first saw it, I said a piece of the rover fell off, it got blown off, whatever. Believe it or not, that's why I didn't cover the story, because it just made no sense to me. What I see now is that there's people in NASA that are saying the same thing. It is very possible that a piece of the rover got blown off because it is 4.2 old. Or the other reason they're giving is that the lander that the rover was in is the same trajectory that the rover is driving, tracking in reverse. In other words, The path that the lander took to come in, the rover's following that path in that direction. So they're saying that possibly in re-entry back in 2004, this is a piece from the lander that ended up sitting there. The other reason why I didn't cover this on Wednesday was because all the articles that I was seeing in those, tabloid internet sites, I wasn't seeing the link to the actual picture that was uploaded by NASA. The link directly to NASA's database, which is holding the link. I have that now. It's in the description along with this article for you to look at. If you so choose to, it's up to you. It's the weekend, long weekend for you in the States. You got nothing better to do. In between beers, just click on it, check it out. Really look at it. And in looking at this closely and, zooming it up a little bit, it does look like it's a piece of NASA hardware. Now, can you see it well enough to say that this says NASA? Is there a NASA logo on it? Of course not, there isn't. But that's what drives people bananas, right? That's what gets them thinking. The article did go along in saying that apparently the folks at NASA say that there have been so many missions to Mars that the planet is bound to be littered with NASA and other countries' junk from coming in. I don't believe that. I don't believe that a planet that size with a rover that small would happen to come across space junk from any other mission other than its own. So at that point I say, NASA, you're going too far at that. That's crazy. So I did a little bit more digging just because I know you guys are probably wondering how many missions have there been to the Red Planet. NASA has a handy-dandy mission log that also includes missions to Mars by other countries. And it'll even tell you if it failed or not. According to this log on NASA's website, since 1960, and I can tell you early on it's just a bunch of failures according to this. Since 1960, there have only been 44 missions to Mars. There is no way that all these missions are littering in the path of the Opportunity Rover. So if this is not a piece of the rover or the rover's lander, then we have something else. So while I'm not willing to jump to conclusions and say that this is quote-unquote alien, I definitely think that rover didn't exactly get too far from where that thing is. Why not try to send it back? It's got nothing better to do. It's probably... It's on his last legs anyway. Send the damn thing back. There's no way that no one in NASA is not intrigued enough about this picture at this point to say, let's go take a look at it. But that might be the case. Maybe they're not allowed to look at it. Because we had the same situation with the Curiosity rover when it found what appeared to be liquid water in the vicinity. And NASA said, we're not allowed to go to where the liquid water is at. Your mission was to go up there and figure these things out. But when you see it, and you see the rover's not that far from it, you balk. And you don't want to send the damn thing over there. That lends to conspiracies. So I don't know. Take a look at the article. Take a look at the picture. You make up your own minds. I think from my observations, this is from planet Earth. And the truth is, we'll never know if it is or not.
Coming to you from the hills of Texas, right here. UFO Buster Radio is now on the air. You can visit Manny and Big O at UFOBusterRadio.com. That's right, this is Bubba Doohickey saying, boys, squeal like a pig. Oink, oink, oink.
The next article is actually coming from the Sun tabloid internet site from the UK. The reason why I'm actually looking at this one because it has a great story about an incident during the Cold War that involved a U.S. spy plane at 35,000 feet. What's even better is how the British government came to their conclusion that this was nothing. And you guys might be aware of this, but finally those X-Files, those UFO files that everyone has been dying for the British government to release were finally released. In these documents, there is a story. There includes an incident that was unexplained from October 19th of 1982. And it involves a U.S. Air Force RC-135 spy plane, which was checking out Soviet military activities, and it was buzzed by a big object over the Mediterranean Sea. What's cool about the story is that the British troops that were stationed at the RAF Trudeau's base in Cyprus were actually listening to the American pilots. The pilots were calling for help. They counted as many as 20 flashing lights at one time were zoning in on them. The incident lasted 90 minutes long. In fact, it was enough time to scramble 2 F-14 fighters and 1 RAF Phantom. And of course, when these extra jets were scrambled and were getting close to that spy plane, apparently this UFO turned away and scrambled south towards the African coast. The United States decided to investigate the situation. They had radar film, tapes, transcripts of the distress call, but none of those were found as part of this report. The article contains sketched drawings of what these pilots saw. What really drives me bananas about this story is that one of the RAF workers put through a suggestion as far as what he thought happened that day in this report. And here's a quote in the article from these X-Files. "We have a strong suspicion that the UFO was a mirage effect from the lights on the coast of Israel or Lebanon. For this being a mirage, why is it that none of the materials used to come to this conclusion can be found within the report?" So to me, a pilot that's flying a spy plane should be able to tell, or at least have enough experience to tell whether or not what they're looking at is a quote-unquote mirage. And if all the individuals on the spy plane saw this, because it wasn't just one pilot, wasn't just one person on the plane, why is it that the mirage disappeared and wasn't seen by the other planes that were scrambled to intercept this situation? Like I said, it's a great story. I'll put in the link in the description because in addition to the situation over the Mediterranean, there is also a bit more information about the rest of the files, the rest of the information that was released by the British government in this dossier of UFO encounters, reports, whatever it is. This has been episode number 18. Now, before we close out this episode, there will not be a new episode this Sunday because, of course, the holidays. I will play a oldie but goodie, so I will upload one of those from the first year of UFO Buster Radio, and then we'll catch up on Monday. But if you're out in Roswell, I just want you guys to know that Ronnie Dawson has landed in Roswell, and if you see him, if you're there, reach out to him, let him know, follow him, track him down, see if you can get some UFO Buster Radio goodies from him. And if you're not there, hit him up on his Twitter, Ronnie Dawson, because I'm sure he's going to be posting a lot of pictures from his trip. As always, I thank you for listening. This is Manny Moonraker signing off, and have a safe holiday weekend in the States. Ciao.